Mirror, mirror, mirror on the wall, telling those lies, pointing out your flaws. That isn't who you are. That isn't who you are. It might be hard to hear, but let me tell you, dear, if you could see what I could see, I know you would believe that isn't who you are. There's more to who you are. So when it's late, you're wide awake, too much to take. Don't shift and forget that in the pain, you can be brave and be safe. I see you dressed in white, every wrong made right. I see you rose and bloom at the sight of you. So priceless, irreplaceable, unmistakable, incomparable, darling, it's beautiful. I see it all in you. So priceless. No matter what you've heard, this is what you're worth. More than all the money or the diamonds and pearls. Oh, this is who you are. Yeah, this is who you are. So when it's late, you're wide awake, too much to take. Don't shift and forget that in the pain, you can be brave and be safe. I see you dressed in white, every wrong made right. I see you rose and bloom at the sight of you. So priceless, irreplaceable, unmistakable, incomparable, darling, it's beautiful. I see it all in you. So priceless. Sisters, we can start again. Give honor to the end, love. We can start again. Brothers, we can start again. Give honor to the end, yeah. We can start again. I see you dressed in white, every wrong made right. I see you rose and bloom at the sight of you. So irreplaceable, unmistakable, incomparable, darling, it's beautiful. I see it all in you. So priceless.
All right, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I want to welcome everybody to a special event, and it is one that is near and dear to my heart and to Capital Gains Tax Solutions, the business that I run, to be able to give back in ways that make a huge difference for the world and for others that are fighting a fight that we so believe in. And so, we believe in supporting and joining the fight of Agape International, and we want to invite you to learn a little bit about what they do, how they do it, and you might be a supporter now, or you might be learning about it for the first time. But I'm excited to bring on our guest, and really the vision for this is to do whatever it takes to help to end the evil of child sex trafficking, and it's one life at a time. And what's really unique about this opportunity is we got a chance to raise some funds and to make that difference right now. And so I'll be your host today. My name is Brett Swarts, for those who don't know me. I'm founder of Capital Gains Tax Solutions. I'm also a commercial real estate broker with eXp Commercial. And today I'm joined by two other freedom fighters. And I'm excited to introduce you to both of them. Our first freedom fighter is actually in my hometown, and I get to see him at church pretty often, and have had a chance to know him for a number of years now. And he actually used to be the National Director of Habitat for Humanity in Uganda, as well as the Director of Church Partnerships for World Vision. He was also a pastor at Bayside Church and a few other churches. But right now, his focus is all with the passion of fighting sex trafficking. And he is the Director of Relational Advancement at Agape International Missions. And he's focused on connecting with people and sharing the transformational ministry of AIM through relationship building, networking, and strategic marketing and communications. And so that is our first guest. And our second guest is my good friend now for about a year and a half, 2 years now. And her name is Noelle Nielsen, and she's out of the great state of Minnesota. And she has a background not only in law, but also in real estate. And she has a passion for everything that we're doing here. And so we've become friends. And we were actually at a mastermind Cabo for a big a EXP event. And we got to talking and said, you know what, I think it'd be a great addition to Fighting the Fight. So please welcome to the event with me, Matthew Robertson and Noel Nielsen. Robert and or Mr. Robertson and Noel, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
We're
Thank you so
doing
much, Brett,
great.
for having me on the podcast.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, for those who don't get to know you, Matt, for the first time, would you give us a little bit about your story and a little bit more about your current focus?
Yeah, so as you shared, I've been the national director for Habitat for Humanity in Uganda. I've worked with churches globally to work with World Vision in the past. I've also pastored at several churches. When I joined the team at Bayside Church about 9 years ago, I first met AIM, Agape International Missions. I was part of a task force that was looking at what was Bayside's response to fighting human trafficking going to be. And that's when I first met AIM. I just fell in love with the organization, fell in love with the people. I got to visit AIM's work in Cambodia in 2016, and I've been around the world. I've kind of seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything I saw with AIM was just amazing. And so that kind of hooked me, and I've been on the team for just over 4 years now.
Amazing. And Noel, for those getting to know you for the first time, would you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Yeah, so like you already described, my background really is one of being an attorney turned into a realtor. And obviously, with real estate, we have a focus on helping people. That's what we want to do. And honestly, when I went and got my law degree, that was my plan as well, to help people. And back when I did that, I had the mission someday that I would be able to hopefully help victims come out of trafficking. And it's always been something that's been near and dear on my heart. And every time I have an opportunity to highlight that and highlight what other nonprofits are doing in the world, I love to hop on that train and just share it, because it is a message, I think, that people tend to turn their backs on. It's a hard topic to talk about. It's a hard thing for our human minds to comprehend how dark and how dreary some of these topics and incidents are that these kids and just humans in general walk through. And so anytime we can highlight that and shed light on it and support the cause, I am all about that. So thanks for coming on, Matt.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Noel, for sharing. And Matt, could you maybe start us off a little bit, and let's just kind of dive right into who is AIM, right? And then what would you say is the number one, secret, or number one thing to help to end child sex trafficking?
Yeah, thanks, Brett. So let me back up just a little bit and just mention that human trafficking is a billion-dollar industry. Millions, some would say 40 million people are trafficked every year, both in labor trafficking and sex trafficking. And we have been going after this issue for 17 years now, starting in Cambodia. We just recently expanded to the country of Belize in Latin America, and we have some work here in the US as well. The key to fighting trafficking really is a holistic approach of rescuing girls out of places where they're being trapped, where they're being enslaved, providing healing and restoration for them, empowerment, providing jobs when they're old enough so that they don't have to go back into the life, and then preventing it from ever happening through churches and schools and community outreach. And that's our 4-pillar holistic approach. And we're seeing success. We're seeing girls not only getting rescued, healed, restored, and empowered to have jobs, but now they're joining us in the fight. We have this thing that we call survivors that now become abolitionists that are joining us in the fight.
Amazing, amazing. And Noel, I know when you first, kind of had a maybe an inclination to this, maybe you could tell a little bit about that story about when you learned about it and what pulled you towards that. But what was the biggest thing that surprised you as far as the awareness factor?
Me?
Noel, yeah, Noel, yeah.
Yeah, so I honestly started learning about this. I was in church one day, and another organization had come into our church, and they were talking about this. And it was an attorney that was talking about what the nonprofit was doing. And I went up and asked if I could participate somehow, and they said no, they weren't taking new attorneys yet. And so I couldn't participate in that way. So I started trying to participate in a way of just finding out how can I support from right where I'm at, what can I do? And the best way really to be able to support is just financially. If you can't actually do boots on the ground, if you can't actually like go overseas and sign up to be some of the SWAT teams that they have going in, the best way to do support is just right from where you are. You can do it from your computer and support the cause like this today. And honestly, that's really how I've learned that I can best support at this time, and just raising awareness. If you're watching this right now, share this video. That's another way that you can support this cause.
And by the way, thank you, Noel. You can put in the comments if you're listening to the video right now. It really helps to say where you're from, and also if you're ready to give, say I'm in. And at any point, you can go to aimfree.com, and you can donate. And the goal is to get 30 people to give $100 each to equal 3,000, and that actually has a matching gift that's going on that goes to 6, and then that 6 actually has another matching one that goes to 12, and so it's kind of like a 1-for-4 deal, which is pretty cool. So at any point you want to just go, you can go to aimfree.org. I'm sorry, aimfree.org is what it is, and put "Fight the Good Fight," by the way, in the notes section when you're going to give, so we know where it matches. But you could go there. I want to go back to Matt here. And so, Matt, you mentioned a holistic approach, and you mentioned 17 years in the fight. Can you tell a little bit about the origin story of Agape? Like who started this, and how did it get going? And give us a little bit about the heart behind the founders.
Yeah, so Don and Bridget Brewster were the founders of this fight, and they started. He was a pastor at a church here in Roseville, California, Adventure Christian Church. And they were going over to Cambodia. He was doing leadership training in the rural areas of Cambodia. And they came across this issue of children that were being sold for sex. Cambodia has been a hub for child sex trafficking in Southeast Asia. A lot of that has to do with the history of the country, basically the decline of morals and religion within the country because of the Khmer Rouge, the communist regime that was there in the 70s. So just a complete moral and ethical decline of the country. And so they were there, and they came across this issue, and they decided that they needed to do something about it. They realized that God was calling them to get involved in this fight. They moved over to Cambodia. They sold everything. They left their older children behind and moved over to start this fight that initially was just going to be a restoration home for 25 girls. And they soon realized that restoration home filled up in a matter of months, that they were there for more than just restoration. And over time, this holistic approach has emerged.
So let's dive into that holistic approach, Matt. So what is it, and how does AIM, how has AIM evolved over the years to make sure that it's, it's doing everything that it can to prevent what's going on?
Yeah, so it starts with rescue. We have a SWAT team that works with Cambodian police law enforcement, with their anti-trafficking task force. We have a SWAT team that can legally execute raids, go in, kick down doors, rescue girls out of places where they're being trafficked and enslaved, brothels, massage parlors, karaoke lounges, wherever that is. And then we take them to our restoration homes. We have 3 restoration homes now for younger and older girls. The very first thing that happens when those girls show up at the restoration homes is we throw them a princess party. We put a tiara on their head. We want them to know that they are loved and valued. That really starts their journey of healing and restoration. We provide life skills training, vocational skills training for them, so that when they're old enough, they can have a job. A lot of them will work in our employment centers making clothing, jewelry, bracelets. We want to empower them to have a life and not have to go back to the life that they were in. We've actually had a survivor go on to be a real estate agent. She always wanted to do it. She went to school and was able to do that. And then we have a huge focus on prevention. And like I mentioned earlier, and we have a school for young kids. If kids are in school, their parents see them as having value and will protect them from being trafficked. We have a church that does outreach and ministry within the communities to have awareness and prevent children from being trafficked, as well as other ways that we can work to prevent kids from ever being trafficked.
Amazing.
I have a question, because obviously our whole world has just gone through this pandemic and COVID has impacted a lot of businesses, but it's also impacted nonprofits, which has not really, I don't think, been highly publicized. How did you guys fare, and what did you have to do to pivot during that time?
Yeah, great question. So we realized through the work of our church reaching into the community, our school teachers checking up on children in the school, from the school that had been closed down, but the teachers were still going out into the communities, reaching out to children, taking them resource packets. We soon realized that there was a humanitarian crisis going on. Can be a shutdown, closed down. Cambodia has over 10 million tourists a year, and that just completely shut down.
That's
and
incredible.
So
keep going.
Yeah, so what we did is we pivoted. A lot of our staff switched gears to focus on providing the basic necessities of food to families that didn't have jobs, that didn't have income, because the tourism had just shut down.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting, Matt. And it's a part of it's the reality of what happened with COVID, right? And all of the change that had to happen rapidly, right? And so I do want to take one other step back too, though. And I know part of that story with Dawn and Bridget, part of me learning about AIM had to do with literally like the SWAT team, right? And I have cousins who served in the military. One was in the special forces, and like just the idea that it had to be, something more than, counting on other people to get this thing done. And I'm going to play a short video for us to show that. And then when we come back, Matt, I want you to kind of maybe give us even a little more context of the whole story of the SWAT team. But check out this video right here, okay?
When we saw kids being sold to pedophiles, we knew we needed to do something. In the early days, to rescue a girl, we'd pretend we wanted to buy her. And we'd negotiate a price. The brothel owner would bring her out, but we didn't pay. We'd jump on a tuk-tuk or in a car, and we'd take off without paying and take her to our restoration home. We were doing anything we could to get these girls out, but it wasn't solving the problem. The truth is, another girl took her place, and the brothel kept going. We knew we needed to do more. So we partnered with another organization in hopes that they would help us rescue these girls and shut down the brothels. One day our phone rang, and it was a young girl trapped in a brothel calling for us to help. We didn't want to just rescue her and keep that brothel going, so we gave the information to this other organization, but we had to wait 3 days for them to get into position to do a raid. But it was tipped off, and none of the girls were rescued, and now they were moved to a new brothel, and we didn't know where they were or how to get them out. They were still trapped there, being abused multiple times a day by many different men. Knowing the extent of the suffering that these girls were going through, we couldn't wait. One girl is too many, and 1 day is too long. We recognized immediately that it was a big mistake to let them wait in a brothel while we waited for someone else to rescue them. We would never let this happen again. So we partnered with the Cambodian government and started our own SWAT team. And when this partnership with the government started, everything turned around. Instead of raids being tipped off, there was hardly ever a raid that wasn't successful. And now that girl that made the phone call, she's not only rescued, she's not only healed, but today she's a social worker of our SWAT team. And when a rescue happens, the first person those girls see is her. She's also testified against the brothel owner. All the girls were rescued, the brothel was shut down, and no girls are being hurt there again. We do whatever it takes, but that we includes you. There are girls trapped in brothels. We know where they are, and we know how to get them out. But we can't do it alone. We need your help.
So Matt, they say we know where they are, we know how to get them out, but we need your help. So talk about the story of the SWAT team, right? And give us a little more context behind how that came about and what this looks like in a day to day, week to week, month to month as these things are happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Don shared in the video, we were partnering with another organization focused on restoration and revenge at the time, but because we were in the communities, because we were working there and connecting and building relationships and trust with people, we were getting tip-offs. We were finding out where girls were. And so this one particular instance, this girl called. She had heard about AIM. She called AIM, and she wanted to get out. She didn't want to be there. She had been trafficked by a family member. She was there against her will, and told us where she was. So at the time, we didn't have a SWAT team. We gave that information to another organization. And unfortunately, there was corruption within that organization, and there was a tip-off, and they went to go do the raid, and the girls were gone. The girl called us back and said, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on, but they've moved us. I don't know where I am. And the trafficker came to this girl and said, I own you. I own the police. You're never getting out of here. And she said, well, AIM is going to come get me. And so I'm going to be fine. And AIM is going to come get me. They'll find me. And he said, well, if that's the case, I don't want to deal with AIM. You can go. And so he gave her bus fare and sent her to our restoration home. That was even before we had a SWAT team and a reputation. But that really was the beginning of us realizing that we needed to create our own SWAT team. And so, as Don shared on the video, we worked with the Cambodian police to form a team handpicked by a general in the Cambodian government who knows that he's got guys that he can trust. There's a lot of work that goes into executing a raid so that there isn't a tip-off. But so far, in the 7 years that we've had our SWAT team, we've rescued over 1,600 girls. We've rescued 1,600 girls. We've arrested 400 traffickers and have been very successful in that.
Hey, you mentioned earlier about survivors becoming abolitionists. Can you dig into that a little deeper as well?
Yeah, so actually Don gives a great example of that in the video where the girl that was rescued, or actually she wasn't rescued. We went to try to rescue her. She was sent to our restoration home, went through that healing and restorative process. She wanted to be a social worker to help other girls that had been just like her. So she studied to be a social worker, and now she's a social worker on our SWAT team. So whenever the SWAT team goes in, first it's the police to go in and arrest and secure the site. And then a team of social workers goes in to just put their arm around these girls, let them know that they're going to be okay, that they're here. AIM is here to rescue them, and that they've been right where they are. They know exactly what they're going through because many of these girls have been right there where they have been. So we see that countless times of girls that have been rescued and healed that are now survivors. They're joining the fight, whether they're teachers in our school, at the AIM school, whether they work in our employment center making clothing, social workers on our SWAT team or working in our restoration homes. And so these girls are now actually modern day abolitionists. And it's really exciting to see this new generation of abolitionists raise up and completely turn things around in their country.
That's absolutely amazing, Matt. And I I love how proactive and instead of not doing whatever it takes, you guys did whatever it took, right? Which was to form these SWAT teams, to work with the local governments, and those things can be very challenging. The local police, all of those things. And we're going to talk about here in a minute, kind of where Cambodia was when they started, when AIM started, and now where it's at, and literally the transformation of the entire city here in a second. But I want to start thanking for some people who've already started to give. I want to thank Ryan Swarts from Orangeville for his $100 donation. I also want to thank Mr. Wes Matchell for his $100 donation out of Sacramento. I want to thank Kevin Bupp out of Clearwater, Florida for $100. Mike Hansen out of Roseville for $100. Pierce York out of Newport Beach for $100. There's also Matt Stewart came in for the $100. And then we have a couple others too. We have Simon from Los Angeles for $100. We have Shay and Adam from Tennessee. We're getting closer out to Noel's neck of the woods there in Minnesota. And then we've got one gave $200, one gave $100. Mr. Adam or Mr. Jarrett Lynn, he is out of Rhode Island for $100, and Eric Peterson out of Roseville for $100, and there's a few more we'll be mentioning as well. But Matt, so tell us what's the next part of this story here, and what's the next thing that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so we continue to expand our work in Cambodia. We've recently expanded our employment center from being able to employ 100 to being able to employ 200 girls, making clothing bracelets we sell around the world. We're also launched in the country of Belize in Latin America at the beginning of 2021, which was phenomenal considering what was going on in the world. But God just continued to bless and open doors and make a way for us to be able to expand even during COVID. And so we opened up new work there. And our goal is to build out a holistic approach like we have in Cambodia. We now have a model that's worked successfully that other organizations are using, but we felt like really work in Belize, starting with restoration and foster care. We're foster care.
Matt, you're breaking up a little bit there. I'm gonna jump back in because I think your connection might be a little bit challenging there. But by the way, you can give right now as well. You can go to aimfree.org. That's aim, AIM free.org, and make sure to put "Fight the Good Fight" in the notes. And so we need 30 people to give just $100, and that equals 3,000. That 3,000 turns into 6 turns into 12. So it's like a 1-to-4 match. It's pretty cool. And you can go to aimfree.org to get that started. Noel, any thoughts so far or comments on a little bit what Matt's talking about here?
Yeah, one, it's super easy to give. I just did it while we were on this call here. Second, you have mentioned about the statistics of ages and age ranges. And, we've talked a lot about the girls that are being saved, but it's also not just girls, correct? Are some of these places you're rescuing both boys and girls coming out of these brothels?
Our work in rescuing is focused primarily on girls. That's the larger amount of the population that have been trafficked in Cambodia, although a lot of our prevention work has focused on working with boys. So in our school, for example, it's a boys and girls school. It's providing education so that boys aren't trafficked as well. We also have a really cool an outlet for gyms called the Lord's Gym in Cambodia.
Matt, we're going to pause again because your connection is a little bit more challenging.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It'll probably come back. You just we gotta like just pause it for a second because it's a little bit. It's like that cell phone that's in a bad service connection. But try to go again, Matt. Go ahead. Just back up like 20 seconds.
Yeah. So again, a huge focus on prevention with both boys and girls. I was mentioning our Lord's Gym, which is a focus on young men. It provides an outlet for them, a place for them to learn kickboxing, which is a national sport in Cambodia, but then also teaches them about what it means to be a protector of girls. A lot of these men that are in the gym are drug traffickers and human traffickers. They've turned their lives around. They're not trafficking more, and they are actually becoming a protector of girls. And so, yeah, so that's different ways that we're reaching into the men of the community.
So Matt, in addition to supporting AIM, financially, what are some other ways that people can get involved here with Agape International?
Yeah. So first of all, pray. We really appreciate your prayers. This is evil. This is a spiritual warfare that happens every day. Our team in Cambodia and now in Belize are on the front lines of this fight every day. Please pray for them. But also, if you are part of a church or you're a business owner and you need t-shirts, you can go to aimcustom.org. Again, aimcustom.org. You can custom design t-shirts, polo shirts, and other items that are made by the survivors in Cambodia. So it provides jobs for them. They custom sew, they screen print everything from scratch for your business, for your church, your vacation Bible school, your summer camps, whatever it is, your business team, your corporate polos, and all of those are made by survivors. Every item comes with a tag with the name of the girl written on it that's made it. So it helps to tell a story. Everyone can get involved in that. And so again, aimcustom.org. And it takes generally about 2 to 3 weeks to get an order done.
Yeah, we're gonna check it out right now. Actually, we're gonna go aimcustom.org, and I got some of this gear. It's great, and I bought it from when you guys have done some local events here. So make sure this is the right one. This is AIM Apparel, right? So custom products with heart. And then, by the way, I love the new logo. It's amazing. But you can click on Start Designing, and you can get the products made right here, which is great. And then, if I was like a business person and I wanted to get some swag for the business, can I do that too? Is that true?
Absolutely. That's the idea here. Is you can pick your design, you can upload your logo, you can place it on there, you can see what it's going to look like. And we can customize everything from the tag that comes with it to the hand tag to the screen printed collar. So it could actually look like it's your own, your own product, but it's handmade by a survivor, and it provides a job for her. We also provide not only a fair wage, we provide health care, we provide child care if they need it, and we provide language training for them, which none of the other employment centers, none of the other fabric factories, garment factories in Cambodia provide that. So it's a high level of care that we provide for these survivors. And these are quality tees. I'm a bit of a t-shirt snob myself. And I love these t-shirts. I wear them all the time. Great quality, long lasting, really soft.
Amazing. That's fantastic. And by the way, if you want to give too, you can go to aimfree.org, aimfree.org. We got the $3,000, 30 people to do $100. Then we got there. One person to do 3,000. We're there too. But you can go to aimfree.org. Make sure to put Fight the Good Fight. Click on Give Now. Boom. And then right here, you enter your information. And then in the notes, you're going to put Fight the Good Fight. So we know to match it for this particular raise today. By the way, the part of the story too, Matt, when we first started this about 2 years ago, maybe now, I don't know. We did $1,000, right? We're like, let's just do $1,000 raise. Like, and I can just do $1,000 match. We can find someone to match it, raise 1,000, match it. Then we said maybe we can do 2, right? And I think we hit both the goals so far. I believe we did. Sometimes some of the things get lost, but I think we hit both goals. And now we can hit the 3. That would be really cool. So every time we're trying to double the match, build the momentum here, spread their awareness. But you can support by simply buying products, praying, right? By giving right now. Those are all ways you can do that. What else, Matt? What questions haven't we asked that we should be asking?
Well, just sure about there.
And I swear, Matt, your connection goes like sideways as soon as I ask you the question, but it seems like it's good. It's like the thing's going. Noelle, what questions do you think we should be asking that I haven't asked yet?
Well, I know we haven't talked about the new work that's happening in Belize, and we could push into that just a little bit as well.
Yeah, so hopefully my connection continues to work for that. We are developing the first of its hub. So
it's so bad, Matt. It's so bad. It's like right when you get into it, it just crashes. Belize. Have you ever been to Belize, Noelle?
I have not. I haven't. I want to. I want to go there.
I've heard it's beautiful. I don't even know where it's at. Like where is Belize?
South America.
Yeah.
I'm
And then,
gonna
Matt, we can just go
I'm gonna
heart. I think your heart will just be, it'll show everything we need to see, and it might be a little better. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, people always told me I had a face for podcasts, so we'll give this a try. Um, yeah, so first of its kind foster care hub in Belize, connecting trafficked children to a loving, caring family and resourcing them that doesn't exist right now in the country of Belize. And so we're really excited about creating a safe home, a safe place for children that have been trafficked with families that want to foster and adopt. There's a culture of that. There's a lot of Mennonite and Catholic families in Belize that want to adopt. Belize just on the southern tip of Mexico on the Caribbean Ocean. And unfortunately, there is a history of trafficking there, both within the country because of tourism, but also children that are trafficked through the country because of where it's located.
Amazing, Matt. So we're just going to wrap up here. I want to kind of finish with maybe some final thoughts. Noel, what's some final thoughts, final call for actions, and then we can wrap it up with a video and see and report back to everybody if we made the raise or not.
Yeah, I would just say if you're watching this and you have that nudge inside of you that you want to do something, don't ignore it. The first step is actually doing something and donating. Don't just click on the link and leave it open in your browser. Actually make a commitment and hit that give button and hit submit, because that is the fastest way truly that you can get engaged. And then, as Matt said earlier, just plugging in with prayer. As you start learning about these things, you'll notice that you start hearing about this more and more in the world, and pray for how can you get involved maybe, and also praying over AIM and over the people that work for AIM, and just praying over their mission and that they accomplish things. Those are the fastest two ways that you can get involved.
And Noel, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best place for them to find you?
Facebook or Instagram, Noel the Minnesotan. I'm pretty easy to find.
And by the way, if they're into goats, do you think they'll get along with you?
I think they'll enjoy my feed if they're into goats, baby French bulldogs. Mostly those two things are on my feed. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Thanks, Noel, for being a part of this. So appreciate our friendship and you joining the fight and being willing to jump out and help with the fight. Matt, any last words, calls for action for anybody here before we wrap it up?
No, I just want to say thank you. I apologize about the technical difficulties, but I think we got most of the message out. Feel free to check out our website, aimfree.org. You'll see that we're a 4-star Charity Navigator rated charity. We take our financial stewardship and accountability very serious. And we appreciate the support partnership with you, Brett, and it's been so great getting to know you, Noel. And we just want to thank you guys for what you're doing to support, to get the word out, to raise awareness, because, as I shared, this is a global issue. It's an evil thing that's happening, but we are seeing progress and faithful support from guys like you and gals like you. It's making a difference and it's having a huge impact. And so I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Noel. And thank you, everybody, for
Yeah.
giving or considering to give even right now. Again, how to do that, you simply go to aimfree.org. That's aimfree.org. Make sure to put Fight the Good Fight in the notes section at checkout to make sure that the match gets properly placed so we can take the 3,000 up to the 12,000. Really cool. aimfree.org. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. You can check out our YouTube channel, our podcast, and we so appreciate everyone out there. And if you could just share this with somebody and put in the comments, put a little like, all of that helps to bolster the algorithm, which then in turn helps to spread the message. We're going to finish out with a video here, and then that'll be it, and we'll be off. We wish everybody very well, and God bless you all for giving. Thank you so much, and we will see you all again very soon. Bye now.
Bye. Thank you.
I was sold in a brothel to men for sex, over and over again. They treated me like an object, not a person. I was assaulted and abused more times than I can remember. I felt worthless. My heart was broken, and I just wanted to die so that the pain would stop. I needed to be rescued, but not just from the brothel, from the trauma, the pain, the constant tears, and the hopelessness. And through the love of Jesus that the people at AIM showed me, I was. AIM got me out of the brothel and took me to their restoration home. Social workers, caretakers, and other girls showered me with unconditional love. They were kind and gentle and patient with me, even when it was hard for me to accept their love. I was treated like a princess, and I felt the love of God for the first time. Therapists and counselors helped me to heal. I didn't think it was possible, but I can actually trust people again. I can actually love myself and believe in myself. AIM trained me and gave me a job in their employment center. They supported me through college and helped me pursue my dreams. Without their love and support, I would have had nowhere else to go. I would have ended up back in a brothel, exploited all over again. God used AIM to set me free, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. But there are more girls out there still trapped in brothels, hoping and praying for someone to set them free, and they need your help. With your support, AIM can rescue them and help them heal, just like they did for me.